America's turning 250, and it's time to rock out with our forefathers. American-made, battle-ready style for true patriots. Whether you're marching in the parade, grilling in the backyard, or raising a toast to liberty, do it in the gear that screams freedom. Celebrate 250 years of USA in style. Wear your American pride loud. Trendjackers.etsy.com. Grab yours before the fireworks.
From Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, this is Sportsbash, presented by Ticketbash.com. Ticketbash.com, where memories are made affordable and where you'll never pay a service fee. Sportsbash is also presented by the Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund, a group of like-minded individuals trying to raise awareness to our future generations of all possibilities of success other than just college. For more information, visit www.lookwhomadeit.org. Well, hi again, everybody. I'm Peter Schwartz. Welcome to a Thursday edition of Sports Bash. Phone number to call is 516-465-3990. Later in the show, a conversation I had yesterday with LIU men's basketball head coach Rod Strickland as the Sharks are on their way to the NCAA tournament. We'll also have What's Hot at Ticketbash.com, the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day, and we'll check out the Coach's Collectibles item of the week. But as I've promoted and talked about, it is FOP Day here on Sports Bash. That means Friend of Peter. And you know, we started doing this, I don't know, a year and a half ago or so when we started doing this Friend of Peter co-host series. And we've had a bunch of big names, friends of mine in the sports or media or entertainment industry that have come in. And Colin Cosell, the Mets PA announcer, was here. Alex Anthony was here. Andrea Grimes, formerly of Channel 2, was in here as a co-host, and a number of others. But I've really been looking forward to this one. The latest installment of it today is my good friend from the New York Post. He writes all about Long Island sports and news, Alex Mitchell. Alex, welcome to Sports Bash.
Oh, Peter, it's great to be here. It really is.
I appreciate that, and I know you're no stranger to the microphone because if you notice, he's smiling from ear to ear because his Hofstra pride have punched their ticket, your alma mater, punched their ticket to the NCAA tournament as well. And I'm sure there was a WRHU microphone that you were in front of every now and then when you were at Hofstra.
So when I was at Hofstra, it was actually a keyboard for the Hofstra Chronicle sports paper.
Okay.
And some of the best memories of my life and a lot of why I'm doing what I am now came from those moments. And 10 years ago,
WRHU never invited you to come do anything? You're writing for the Chronicle and they didn't invite you?
I was a paper guy, and I guess it worked out. So
it's okay. Well, you're still invited to come here, and we're not going to kick you out. I thought maybe just because at Buffalo State, we welcome the people from the Buffalo State Record to WBNY. So another question I asked that backfires here on the show. What else is new? But thank you for coming today. And for people who live on Long Island, and if you're not following Alex and his stuff in the New York Post, both on the sports side and the news side. It's incredible, and you've done a great job on the Long Island beat on both ends of the spectrum. How much fun has it been for you, especially in the last year? You've had some big stories in the last year.
It's been unbelievable, and I'm not just happy for myself to have these moments, which have been larger than life at times, but I'm happy for Long Island. You know, the New York Post, we've put, especially since last year, we put a real commitment in here, and we want Long Island to be recognized. We want to be that community partner, and we want people to know that we're your go-to now. We're here for you. If, you need to get on a field to kick a field goal, we'll be there. If you need whatever it is, we'll do what we can.
That's where I'm going to go next. And it's funny because our minds think alike. A big part of your resume right now is the story about that whole, issue with the Jets and the girl from Long Island who was going to kick a field goal. For those who aren't familiar with the story, tell everybody about that and how much notoriety you got out of that story.
Yeah, so I wouldn't call it notoriety. It seemed like...
Oh, people were talking about you.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Sometimes behind your back, but people were talking about you.
That's wonderful.
No, I'm just kidding.
So the way the story goes, Long Beach's varsity soccer coach, Ashley Castanio-Gervasi, who was a goalkeeper for Stony Brook University a little over 10 years ago, she won a contest to kick a field goal at MetLife Stadium. She's a diehard Jets fan. She comes from a lineage of diehard Jets fans. She estimates that her family spent about $1 million on the team going back to Shea Stadium, and her dad's been a longtime season ticket holder, and he had passed away from cancer, and she really kind of channeled connection with him through going to Jets games. She became a season ticket holder herself. Without getting into too many details, there was a snafu, and she wasn't able to do a kick at the end of the season where she could have won potentially $100,000 on the field in MetLife.
Yeah.
May have gotten on the cover of a certain New York tabloid, and then things changed.
This guy right here.
But that I think that's kind of an example of we want to be there for people and step up, and I'm happy that we were able to get her on the field. So
and that was just one of many local stories that Alex has covered. We'll talk about a few of them as we go along, especially when he tried out for a certain professional football team last year. Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit later on, but one of the reasons why I was really excited to have you in, because we both share the love of Long Island sports, not just sports, but everything about Long Island. It's where I want to spend the rest of my life. I have no interest or feelings about ever moving anywhere. I got the family in Florida. Oh, you should come down here. No more snow. This is home, man. There's too many things going on here. It's where I've lived my whole life, and I know you share that same love, for this community, and I know that's why you take, extra special pride in the work that you're doing for the Post covering the island.
Well, thank you, Peter. I really appreciate that. And yeah, speaking of the pride, we're going to have a very exciting one about Hofstra coming out on Sunday. Very special moment there. Very special moment for LIU. I know that you have some pretty cool stuff coming up on that later.
The next segment, we're going to have Rod Strickland. I taped the interview yesterday with the LIU head coach. Obviously, that both of those campuses are very excited about being in the NCAA tournament, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But when we talk about Long Island sports, the biggest story going on right now, aside from LIU and Hofstra going to the big dance, are the New York Islanders. And listen, even the biggest of Islander fans, and I not just literally and figuratively, the biggest of Islander fans, even myself, could not have imagined them having a season like this. And even with all the hysteria about drafting Matthew Schaefer, winning the lottery, and the excitement about him at 18 years old coming to the island, I don't think anybody expected this. And for them to be in this position now, battling for a playoff spot, in a playoff position right now, how shocked are you, and how cool of a story has this been for you to cover for the Post?
Oh, it's been an absolute thrill. And, I'm always the optimist, I guess is the way to say it. So I always hope that this is the outcome, and I'd rather be heartbroken that it isn't than give up my hope, if you will.
Right.
But from the get-go, they keep being the most pleasant surprise in the National Hockey League if you root for blue and orange.
Yeah.
And what, 10-0 in overtime right now?
It's amazing. First team in NHL history to go 10-0. And by the way, speaking of the Islanders and the Post, Your colleague Ethan Sears, by the way, does a phenomenal
Fantastic job
as the Islanders beat writer, day in, day out. Seeing him at practice and the games all the time. He was over at the Olympics too, and he really covers the Islanders like a blanket. But there are, besides the on-ice part of the Islanders, there's the off-ice part, and the fans are so happy about the way things are going. 12 straight sellouts at UBS Arena. I'm going to go out on a limb and believe that tomorrow night and Saturday night will also be sellouts, so they'll be at 14 straight. I would actually not be surprised if every game the rest of the way was sold out. But off the ice, when you talk about the community and you talk about the hysteria by the fans, this is a pretty cool side story to cover the other things that are going on around the Islanders.
Absolutely. And, to go back before the season even began, I had done a story where I talked to a couple of notable Islanders alumni, and I asked them, why did you want to stay here? Why didn't you want to go back to your home state where, you're from? Why didn't you want to go back to Canada? And a lot of the response was because of the people. And, by December, I think even a little earlier, the Islanders ran out of 4s and 8s for Matthew Schaefer jerseys. And listen, you go to a game, you feel it. You really, really do feel the energy, the excitement, and it just feels like a big family.
Well, I grew up, I'm a little older than you, a lot older than you. So I grew up during the Stanley Cup dynasty. I started watching the Islanders in, 77, 78. My first Islander game was 78. And this feels like that team, the way that team built up, it's got a similar feel now. Matthew Schaefer has done amazing things, and there isn't a bossy pot fan. Sorokin still may turn out to be Billy Smith. We'll see what happens, but there isn't that group of Hall of Famers yet on this team. But the feel around the team, the fans' excitement, the atmosphere at the games, the excitement of going to a game is, for me, is kind of like growing up around the Dynasty Islanders. And I know a lot of younger fans really, for the first time in a long time, are feeling that same excitement that I had when I was a kid.
The closest I had was 2021, and I'll never forget that. That was actually all happening my first ever week at the New York Post. And I was supposed to be all excited about getting published in there and everything for the first time. All I could think about were the Pittsburgh games in that first round.
Yeah.
And it has that same feeling like, why not us? Make the magic happen. And it's just, I'm really excited to see what is to come and the future that Matthew Schaefer has with this program.
Yeah, there's no question. There's a lot of excitement around the team, and we'll be there every step of the way to cover that. The other big Long Island sports story recently, and I don't know how much you've paid attention to it, and for a lot of baseball fans on Long Island, there's probably not going to be a big difference in the way you experience the Long Island Ducks this year, but a big story recently was the sale of the Long Island Ducks. Frank Bolton, who founded the Ducks 25, 26 years ago, founded the Atlantic League first, because at first it took him a couple of years to get the stadium built and to bring the Ducks here. But he founded the Ducks. It's been a phenomenon for 25 or 26 years, and he recently sold the team to REV Entertainment, which is an entertainment company that's owned by the Texas Rangers. And I don't think fans are going to see too much of a difference in going out to the ballpark this year. But for us as Long Island residents who have gone, and I saw you last year at a Ducks game online waiting to get in. It's a great night out to go see a Long Island Ducks game. I'm proud to be one of their PA announcers, so I do some games here and there. What did you think of Frank finally selling the team? And he's still going to be around. It's not like he's going anywhere. But it's an end of an era with Frank Bolton selling the team. Yeah,
and all you have to do is look in his office to see the passion that he's got, the memorabilia he's got. He must have a bobblehead of almost every single.
He's got an amazing office. I've sat with him in that office doing interviews and stuff like that. And you know what else is in that office too? It also hangs in the main area of the office of the stadium, of the Ducks offices. The first ever Ducks game, the next day in Newsday, front cover and I was at the first game. Front cover of Newsday, and I should have sent Tony. I have a picture of it. I can't. It'll take too long to find it now, but I just thought about it. I should have sent the picture. But the front page of Newsday, the day after the Ducks' first game, quack of the bat, and they show a picture of this young lady, the first official fan inside the ballpark. And who do you see about 3 people behind wearing a big Yankees jacket with a Ducks hat is me. And this front cover, this giant front cover of Newsday, is hanging in the offices of the Ducks. And there's also one, and Frank has promised to get me a copy of it, but there's one in Frank's office too. But yes, he has everything in there.
He does, and you know what's funny? I saw one of the articles that he has up is about a no-hitter that happened with the Ducks. I think it was 2002.
Yeah.
And I told him when I was 7 or 8 years old, I was there. That was the first no-hitter I ever saw. And he told me he had to miss it. He had some important event for his daughter, and I just found that hilarious.
That was your first one?
That was my first no-hitter I ever saw.
The first no-hitter. I've been to 3. I've been to Jim Abbott. And that was a no-hitter, and I've been to 2 perfect games. I was at David Cohn and David Wells.
Wow.
And the David Wells one was Beanie Baby Day. And I have the Beanie Baby with my press pass, because I covered the game, my parking ticket, and like a reprint of the New York Post front page, All's Wells or something like that ends Wells, whatever. Yeah, so I've been fortunate enough. And had a ticket to Doc Gooden's no-hitter, but decided not to go to the game because we wanted to watch hockey playoffs.
Oh, wow.
I was sitting there at the sports bar watching the playoff games. My friend and I, I'm like, we could have been at this game. 6th inning, 7th inning. I'm like, we were rooting for it to get the no-hitter to get broken up because we didn't want to feel terrible about it. And as it turns out, we missed the no-hitter. But I could have been at 4.
I caught one more no-hitter in my career, and it came from 12-year-old Joey Leonetti of the Massapequa Coast Little League, who got into the Little League World Series on his no-hitter. That was pretty cool.
That's a pretty cool feeling. Listen, you love to see stories like that on Long Island. When was it for you? When did you get that itch, that bug that you were going to be a sports writer one day? Because after you tell the story, I'll tell you the story of how I knew I was going to be a sportscaster.
So it started when I had to come to terms that I couldn't skate by high school, so captain of the New York Islanders seemed like it was slightly out of reach. Or,
Yep.
Being the next Aaron Judge, I was lucky if I would get, 2 hits a season.
Yeah.
And it just kind of came like I don't want to ever not be part of the sports world, and I want to do something more than a fan. And high school and college were times that really molded me, and you want to talk about what gave me the finishing touch on what I wanted to do. It was covering Hofstra basketball as a junior when they were in the CAA finals at the time, a heartbreaking overtime loss, but being there down in Baltimore on the court watching it happen, it's like, I don't want to stop doing this after I graduate and get the tassel. This has to be it. And it was just, splendid experience going to St. Anthony's High School too, being around such a powerhouse of athletes all the time, and
yeah, there's some long list of, you walk into the gym and they have that St. Anthony's Hall of Fame. That's a pretty impressive list of people that were up there.
I hope to be in there one day for maybe doing some media stuff one day too.
Well, you know what? Crossed. You have that wish with St. Anthony's, and I have that wish with East Meadow High School. My good friend Rich Barabi from News 12 played baseball at East Meadow High School as well. But he was honored with a plaque on the wall somewhere, like a award of distinction. I'm like, maybe I should be up on that wall too. I mean, I've done pretty good for myself. I think I've represented East Meadow High School pretty well. I know there's Frank Viola, who was probably who the most famous graduate I think of East Meadow High School is, and my wife and I went to school with him, is Chris Angel, the magician.
Oh yeah.
So he used to do like magic tricks in the hallways, but he had a different name in high school. He had a very long Greek name. But yes, in our yearbook, me, my wife, and Chris Angel are in the yearbook. But yeah, cool. I think my alma mater should get me some small plaque.
I think so too.
I think so. I think I've worn my East Meadow High School football T-shirt on Boomer and Geo one morning. I've talked a lot about East Meadow High School. So if the East Meadow School District is watching, where's my moment?
Get Peter on there.
Yeah, I think so. I think I keep politicking for it, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen. By the way, my moment when I knew I was going to be a sportscaster, well, there's 2 of them. One was watching a game with my dad on TV, and I said I wanted to do it, but I always still thought maybe I could be an athlete one day. And then in Little League, I was playing first base. My father was the manager, and we're warming up before the game. And you know how like the first baseman will bounce the ball to the third baseman, the shortstop, and around while the pitcher is warming up. So I get the ball, and I go to throw the ball across the diamond to the third baseman. I hit our starting pitcher in the pitching shoulder as he was throwing a warm-up pitch, knocked him out of the game before the game even started. At that point, I was convinced I was never going to be, the first baseman for the Yankees, certainly. So there was my aha moment. Yeah, maybe I'll just talk and write about sports for a living.
That's why
At least
doesn't want you.
Oh, the first salvo is fired today by Tony Walker, my producer.
Had to do it.
And the host of the Knock 'em Dead comedy. That wasn't very funny, speaking of comedy. Knock 'em Dead comedy show, Monday through Friday, 11 to 12:30. Wow. Oh, my God. There's so many different ways I can get back at him. I'm just not going to do it. Oh, wow. Oh, it's coming. Yeah, somewhere down the road it's coming. Yes. But we're going to talk more about Long Island sports in a little bit, and Rod Strickland's going to join us a little bit later on. We got some fun stuff that we do on the show that you'll be a part of in a little bit. But I do want to end the segment. Tony, remember when we started doing the FOP stuff about a year and a half ago, right?
That's about right.
Yeah. So our first FOP ever on the show was Amy McGorry, first formerly with News 12 on Long Island, and now she's with Newsday. She's a physical therapist. She teaches at LIU, and and then she covers medical news for Fox News. She needs some help right now. So Amy is in need of a life-saving living liver donor. Amy has been battling autoimmune hepatitis and primary biliary, I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong, cholangitis, and I apologize if I pronounce that wrong, for the majority of her life. Those two illnesses, the majority of her life. These are two chronic diseases that cause permanent damage to the liver. There is no cure for either at this time. She's been fighting, but her liver has given everything it can, and she is now in dire need of a living donor. Time is critical. That's a message from her family. And if you have any interest in this, or you know somebody who could be a donor, just a portion of your liver is needed. The liver typically fully regenerates in 8 to 12 weeks. So if they took a piece of your liver and gave it to Amy, that would your entire liver would grow back in time. Amy's transplant center is Weill Cornell. They do extensive testing to ensure the donor's safety. This is the criteria if you're interested in being a donor or know somebody who would. Blood type O+, ages 20 to 60 years old, and be willing to undergo compatibility testing. Not everyone can be a donor, but every share, comment, like, and conversation gets us one step closer to giving her the gift of life. You can get more information by scanning the QR code on the photo that you see on the screen right now. And Amy is going to join us here on the show on Tuesday to talk more about this. But there's some more information on the live donor liver transplant program. Scan that QR code. And Amy has been just she's been so wonderful in the media, and she's been a great friend. She's been on the show. She's actually interviewed my kids for stories that she's done on youth sports. So it's terrible when you hear something like this, but she is a fighter. She's a Long Islander, and I hope the Long Island community can come together and see if we can find some help for Amy.
Absolutely, definitely pulling for her.
So Amy, you're in our thoughts and prayers, and everybody is pulling for you, and we look forward to having you on the show. Hopefully we'll have some good news between now and Tuesday. Maybe we'll get some good news for Amy between now and then, but we will talk to Amy on the show here on Tuesday. When we come back here on Sports Bash, more with my FOP, friend of Peter, co-host today, Alex Mitchell. We'll talk more about what's going on in Long Island sports. You'll also hear and see my interview that I did yesterday with LIU head coach Rod Strickland. That is all coming up when we come back right after this. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage.
In 1982, the Marty Lyons Foundation began with a single heartfelt mission: to bring moments of joy and hope to critically ill children by granting wishes that make their dreams come true. Since that day, we have touched the lives of over 8,600 families, raising over $44 million to grant wishes that offer a beacon of light in their darkest times. These precious wishes cost an average of $7,100 each. And your support is crucial to our mission. Every donation, big or small, makes a difference. And with 84 cents of every dollar going directly to supporting our families, you can rest assured your support truly changes lives. The Marty Lyons Foundation operates 11 chapters in 14 states now, working tirelessly to reach as many children as we can. This dedication goes hand in hand with our commitment to transparency and accountability, earning us top ratings on Charity Navigator, Great Nonprofits, and Candid, which underscores our dedication to those we serve. The Marty Lyons Foundation grants wishes to children ages 3 to 17. And what really makes this foundation so special is our willingness to grant not only a first wish, but also consider a second wish to a child who continues to battle a life-threatening illness. We stand by these children, offering them hope and strength through the power of dreams, giving our children the courage to wish for more.
What's your purpose in life? Is your purpose in life to live in the big house and drive the nice car? No. Your purpose in this life is to make it a little bit better for those that follow and realize that we live for today to see a better tomorrow.
Visit MartyLyonsFoundation.org to learn more and get involved.
Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. 516-465-3990 is the number to call. It's FOP Day here on the show. Alex Mitchell from the New York Post is my FOP co-host today. We were just kind of talking about this off the air during the commercial break. It's always great when we get responses to our work from our family. What's been the... you're laughing. What's been the most interesting response you've ever received from a family member from one of your articles?
So my parents are very actively engaged in my work. So much so that when they see an article, they'll send it to me and say I should cover this. Now, sometimes that will actually be my own article, and they forgot to check the byline. And, I remember one time that happened with my mom, and she's like, how did somebody else get this story before you? And I was like, Mom, I thank you for reading, but next time just start at the very top where you see by Alex Mitchell. So, and yesterday was her birthday, so happy birthday, Mom.
Actually, someone, not a family member, but a friend of mine, I recently did a story, not a sports story, I did a story for Greater Long Island on Mike Del Giudice opening up his new music venue in Smithtown.
Mr. Ryder Cup.
Yeah, there you go. So he's opening up this new music venue. We're going to hopefully have him on the show before that opens. But I did interview him for a story for Greater Long Island on that, and a friend of mine, it's hysterical. She sends me this story on Facebook messaging and says, "This is a great story about your friend Mike. Maybe you could do something on him too." And I'm like, did she really just write it that way? I'm like, and then I wrote back. I was trying to be a bit of a idiot. I wrote back. I said, "Yeah, it's a pretty good story." And then she wrote back again, "Yeah, maybe you could have him on your show." So I wrote back again. I said, "Can you take a look at who wrote that story?" And she went, "I'm an idiot." But my mom watches every show, and when I do play-by-play, she'll watch the games. My family watches everything, and I think the most interesting remark I think I ever got from any of my family members. I'm doing PA for a Ducks game, and you know how whoever does PA for the Ducks game, especially when he was playing, Lou Ford. So they now go Lou Ford. So the first time I had to introduce Lou Ford with my entire family sitting like 2 rows behind home plate. My younger son is his favorite player. Lou Ford was Jared's favorite player. So I now batting for the Ducks, first baseman, what number did Lou Ford wear? 20 something. Lou Ford. And Jared looks back at the press box and said, like, no good. Text me, that was a weak Lou Ford. I'm like, okay, you go back here and you do this. So, but yeah, family is great. It's always great to have the support from your family. That's a hysterical story about your parents. Let's talk about Hofstra first, because Hofstra's going dancing, and it has been a long time since your alma mater has been in the NCAA tournament. I was actually there one time for when Speedy was a player, the back-to-back years that they went to the NCAA tournament. I was at the first one. And I know this was very emotional for him in the last couple of days. He spoke to the media yesterday out in front of the Mac Center. For you as an alum, take your reporter hat off for a second. As an alum, this has to be pretty cool.
It's about darn time. As an alumni, I just keep thinking, finally, because I remember 2020 thinking this exact same way. Who are they going to play? This is amazing. It finally happened. There was the 2016 heartbreak that I told you about against UNCW, and in overtime, they were that close.
They had that game won. They had that game won and let it go, let it slip away.
And then it's like, whatever, it's all in the past. And then COVID happens, no tournament. They don't even find out who they're going to play. And, at the time, it took a while to sink in, because it's like, okay, maybe they'll just have the tournament later. And then you realize, that's not going to happen. And then it's like, well, maybe they'll be back in it next year. And then you forget how tough it is to win 3 of those games in a row, or 4, whatever, you need with the seeding with the CAA. And I think they took everything in stride. Yeah. They had such fantastic seasons leading up to this. I spoke with Speedy Claxton after they upset Syracuse this year, and I was asking, like, where do you put that game? And he said he put it right there with the huge Rutgers upset in the NIT a couple of years ago. And then all of a sudden you're looking at, hey, Hofstra's the real deal.
Yeah.
This is a school that they've had adversity, they've overcome it. They're through the roof right now.
What kind of seed do you think they get?
I don't know. I hope that they don't have a play-in game. I don't think that they would, but I don't see why they can't be a 12.
A 12 or a 13, maybe.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Somewhere there, and hopefully it's on the East Coast so fans can... it'd be easier to go to the games.
If it's in Philly, I'm getting a cheesesteak.
There you go. What do you like? Which is your favorite?
Oh, Peter, you just opened up a huge...
Are you a Pats or a Geno's guy?
That's a trick question.
That's a trick.
I am neither. So
You're neither.
I'm a very devout, and you could, anyone who wants to call in and validate this, I'm a diehard cheesesteak guy. I will drive to Philadelphia just for a cheesesteak.
I'm Pats.
See, I've got a couple of favorites. I love Jax's, which was put in a ranking by the man who tried eating every cheesesteak in the world. I think he's over several thousand. And now they know me and my wife is the couple who comes in from New York. But I'm also very, very partial to Barry's. They just opened up their new location in Roxborough, and there's just something about that Cooper Sharp, that white American with the cheese and the semolina bread. Listen, we could do a whole hour on this.
We could do a whole hour. We don't have a whole hour to do it. Maybe we'll have a food bash one day instead of sports bash. But I'm a Pats guy. And when I was doing the Dragons games, the original Dragons, well, really the only Dragons, we would go to Philadelphia just about every year. And one trip we would go to Pats, and the next trip we would go to Geno's. And you have to make a decision. And that's really the 2 famous ones, because they're right across the street from each other. Could you imagine the snowball fights that go on during the winter between those two? But I just think Pats is better. It's probably a little more greasier, which makes it better. But I do like Pats better than Geno's.
I've got to give you my list. And you have to get to Steve's Princess Steaks also.
Steve's Princess Steaks?
Prince of Steaks.
Prince of Steaks.
Yes,
okay.
Royalty.
Right. Well, again, maybe we'll have to do a special on Philly cheesesteaks. So we've got Hofstra going to the tournament. We also have LIU going to the tournament for the first time, I believe, since 2018, when they were the LIU Blackbirds. And then LIU, combined with CW Post, and now they're the LIU Sharks. And the head coach of the Sharks in his 4th season is Rod Strickland, the former Knick first-round pick, has taken the Sharks to the NCAA tournament as NEC champions. Yesterday, I had a chance to catch up with Rod, and here's that interview. Well, Rod, thank you so much for joining me for a few minutes. Congratulations to you and your team and the entire Long Island University family on this outstanding achievement of going dancing and going to the NCAA tournament. For you personally, what does this mean to take the Sharks to March Madness?
Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah, it was an amazing night last night. I mean, it's been 4 years of trying to build a culture and build a winning environment. And, last night just to see the building, how many people were in that building cheering, the energy. I think it said it all last night, just coming from where we were at up to that moment. It was a special night.
When you started this journey as head coach at LIU 4 years ago, obviously there were some growing pains along the way. Was there ever a moment where there was any doubt that was creeping in that this program was on a road to the NCAA tournament?
No, it was never any doubt. I think, playing basketball or being a part of basketball all my life, like the journey, the struggle, the adversity, like that's all a part of success. So I knew like experience was a big deal. And so I had to come in this environment and kind of feel it, putting the staff around me, getting the right players in here. And it just took some time, but I always felt, my goal coming in here was to come into the NEC and be on top of it. And I was in Memphis with John Calipari, and we was in Conference USA. And I just remember how we just kind of controlled that conference, and that was the goal from the beginning.
You talk about getting to March Madness and your plan and your vision for this program. Obviously, you need your players to do it as well, and it was a total team effort along the way. But tell me about your big guns like Greg Gordon, Malachi Davis, and Jamal Fuller, and what those guys and every player on the team has meant to you in getting this team to where it is right now.
Well, you don't win without players. I don't care what kind of coach you are or think you are. Players on the court, players help you win games. But I have to give credit to Jamal, Malachi, and Shadrach, because those three guys were with us last year. Those are the three guys who kind of helped me get over the top. Last year we had 17 wins, and those guys had opportunities to go elsewhere. And they believed in the vision. They believed in what we were doing here, being in New York City, and they came back, and that was big for us. And then we had a Greg Gordon, who comes in, tremendous all-around player, great athlete, and probably one of the most confident kids I've been around. So I have to give those guys a lot of credit, as well as Jomo Goins coming in from Division II, and everybody else, Mason from junior college, like all these guys came in, and they believed in us, and we went through the journey, had some ups and downs, and they stuck with it.
Talking to Rod Strickland, head coach of Long Island University. They are going dancing. They are going to the NCAA tournament after they won the 7th NEC title in program history. And this was a little weird situation, Rod, because you actually had clinched the berth in the NCAA tournament with the semifinal win, because Mercyhurst, who you beat in the championship, they were not eligible to go to the NCAA. So you actually, get into that game, the championship game, already knowing you're going to March Madness. Did you feel at any point that the players might have taken their foot off the pedal, knowing that they were already in, or were they focused as you could be to try and cut down the nets for a conference tournament?
No, I didn't think they took it for granted at all. We set out a goal from the beginning. Regular season champions, home court advantage, conference champions, and the final goal was to get to the NCAA. So we were well aware of what was at stake. We didn't want to see an asterisk behind our name for winning the champ for going to the NCAA. So we were locked in.
24-10 on the season so far, 14-1 on your home court there in Brooklyn. You talked before about the crowds that were at the games. What kind of home court advantage have you built there in Brooklyn with LIU, and how happy are you that the students have bought into what you're doing, and now they're reaping all the benefits of this journey to get to where you are right now?
No, it's been great. I mean, just to watch it. We were in here with 15, 100, 150 people when I first got here. And even this year, early in the year. So we've gradually built, the excitement, like you said, our students, we have the Fins Up group. And, like last night, I have a picture in my office from when they were the Blackbirds, and Long Island Blackbirds, and you can see the whole arena's packed. And they took this great picture. And I asked someone to see if they can recreate that. So I'm gonna find out if they did. But I thought that picture was so cold. And, for me to come here, for me to bring guys together and come here and get to that point where we had this place packed, that was everything. The energy, I had my mother there. I had my mother here. She just turned 90. She's at every game. Brother's here, right here in New York. I got my Truman High School, brothers here. I got my neighborhood, and all the street ball legends are coming to the game. Like it was just a great atmosphere, and just to see the support around New York City.
Yeah, this has to be so cool for you. Born in the Bronx, you're a first-round pick of the Knicks in the NBA draft. You had a very good NBA career, and now you've taken a local college that most people in the area don't realize has a basketball history and has been to the big dance before. For you as a local New York guy, I mean, this has to mean the world to you.
Yeah, well, it feels like super authentic, because I have real people around me, my friends and family, and then New York City. Obviously I'm a big part of this community. I have a nonprofit in the Bronx. I'm here in Brooklyn. So, I'm New York City raised me. So to be able to kind of transition from a player to coming in and, well, not even that, a player, then an assistant coach, then an NBA executive, and then to be the head coach and do what I've done or what we've done this year right here in my hometown is special.
The selection show is Sunday night. You'll find out where you're going to go, whether it's the first four, in Dayton, or whether you go directly to the 64-team field. How will you watch it? Will the whole team be together on Sunday night? How is that going to work out for you guys?
Well, the whole team will definitely be together. We're still trying to figure out where, all the logistics and all that. But we'll definitely be together, and we'll be watching to see where we go.
And I just wanted to ask, I mentioned before you were a first-round pick of the Knicks, and you had a few seasons with the Knickerbockers. Are you still a Knicks fan? Do you still watch? And how happy are you with the success that they've had, this kind of rebirth of Knicks basketball the last few years?
Oh, absolutely. Like they say, once a Knick, always a Knick. I go to the games when I can. I know I'm friends with Leon Rose and William Wesley. So Mike Brown coached me with the Washington Wizards. So, I have a lot of familiarity there. I know all the New York legends. I'm happy for them. I knew once Leon and Wes became a part of that, just knowing them and their connects and who they are, I knew the Knicks would get to this point. Hopefully, we can get over the top and win a championship.
Awesome. And Rod, thank you so much for joining me here on the show. Congratulations again to you and the whole Sharks team and the university, and best of luck wherever you guys wind up starting the big dance. Best of luck to you guys, and congratulations again on a great season.
Thank you. Appreciate you for having me.
Our thanks to Rod Strickland, the head coach of LIU, the Sharks going dancing, as well as the Hofstra Pride with their conference tournament wins. And it's a great story for LIU also. Rod Strickland, his fourth year. I mean, those first couple of years did not go well for them after the merger of the operations between the two schools. But what a great season. I think they're 24-10. They've only lost one game at home all season long. And it's great for the community. Now we have two Long Island, although the basketball team plays in Brooklyn, it is still one big Long Island university, and it's big news around here. The two schools are in the tournament.
Absolutely, and I was at the NEC championship that they won against Mercyhurst Tuesday night. The floor was shaking. The culture there has been just fantastic this year, and you have a couple of guys doing fins up to thank in part for that, and we're going to have a pretty cool story coming out on Selection Sunday about those guys as well.
Yeah, it's going to be terrific. And you wonder, though, and I hate to, I was talking to a buddy of mine who graduated from LIU years ago, and he was kind of a little taken back that I brought this up yesterday, but he's doing so well, and they're in the tournament. You have to worry now if you're LIU about maybe losing Rod Strickland to a bigger program, because a lot of these, mid-majors, they get their team to the tournament, and all of a sudden they get a big mega offer from another school. And
Jay Wright
left Hofstra. He went on to some really good things.
He did all right.
He did okay.
In cheesesteak territory.
But not every coach does that. Not every coach has that success at a small school, goes to a bigger school. A lot of times they fall on their face, and they wind up having to resurrect their career somewhere. So I hope that doesn't happen to Rod Strickland. Maybe he'll get a couple more years at LIU, and then maybe he'll take that next. Maybe he'll replace Rick Pitino at St. John's at some point.
I think a lot of people would be happy just to see him stick around.
Yeah, I think so. Well, we'll see what happens. Yeah. We got some other business to take care of before we take a break. First off, as you remember, on the show on Tuesday, we had Shannon Hogan, the Islanders MSG host and reporter. And one of the things we talked about her in advance was an event that took place yesterday at UBS Arena. It was a Islanders Children's Foundation teaming up with Operation Shower to have a baby shower for military moms-to-be. Shannon spoke. She's hosted this event for years. And they had the event yesterday. We're looking at a photo of all the people that were there, the moms, the Islanders' wives and girlfriends that were there. Shannon's in that picture. And look who made his way into the front of that picture, our good friend Sparky, the Dragon, the Islanders mascot. So that was a festive event. It's a great thing that they do. It's very, very tough on any mom, but certainly a military mom whose significant other is away, deployed somewhere. They're expecting a baby, and they really felt yesterday like they weren't alone. They had this entire support group, and Operation Shower does a great job with the shower in a box. They got some great Islanders and hockey-themed merch yesterday. It's a pretty cool event.
Without a doubt. And, before the event, I spoke with one of the volunteers over there who was a recipient of the shower a few years ago when her husband was in the Coast Guard, and she told me something that I didn't think about at first, is that when people are stationed, they're not near home, so they don't get the chance to be around their family and friends necessarily to have the shower. And she said that just the hockey community coming together like that, phenomenal.
Do you know people of two individuals that love Long Island more than me and Alex? Are there two? I mean, I bring up something I covered. He trumps me with something else that he covered. I bring up something. We talk on the phone. We text with each other. Yeah, I'm covering this. Oh, I'm covering this event. I'm like, there are not two people on Long Island who do this for a living that love Long Island more than the two of us. I don't think so.
Long Island deserves it, though. They deserve that kind of commitment and that depth. And you bring it. You do a fantastic job, and I like to hope that we're doing that, too.
So you live in Suffolk County, don't you?
Oh, no. I'm in Nassau
You're in Nassau County. Because I was thinking if you lived in Suffolk County, that you could be the Suffolk County executive at one point, and I could be the Nassau County. But now we both live in Nassau, so one of us would be Nassau County executive, but one would be like the deputy executive, whatever it might be.
I am from a town that you may have seen in the news from time to time called Massapequa.
Oh, you're right. You're a neighbor of mine.
Yeah.
Because we're in Wantagh.
And President may have, paid attention to Massapequa.
Yeah.
From a certain article or two.
Or as people say, Massa Pizza.
Massa Pizza.
There you go.
But I'm an all-American guy.
There we go. All-American.
And shout out to Stefan Rosner, who loves that place and taught me about a secret menu item.
Stefan Rosner from the Hockey News does the podcast, the Islanders podcast, and the Elmonters, that other newsletter and stuff like that. So, yes, we love. Who does not like All-American? I tweet when I go there, and there's somebody who I work with at the Fan, Sean Morash, who calls All-American overrated.
Come on, man.
Which is a reason why Sean is not welcomed on this program.
Right.
Yeah,
welcome on Long Island.
No, oh, shoot. That's the second salvo that Tony has fired here on the show. We're going to blow off the second commercial break. We're going to go straight into everything else. It's too good. I don't want to step away from what we're talking about. It's time for the Coach's Collectibles item of the week. And we are looking at these Mike Piazza framed photographs from Coach's Collectibles. They're great. And you can go online and get another look at them and order it there. The next Coach's Collectibles live event, Chaz Palminteri, Wednesday, March 25th at Fox Hollow Country Club in Woodbury. Are you a fan of Chaz Palminteri?
Now you can't leave.
Yeah, there you go. You may have to go. You have to show up with us there on March 25th because we're going to try and get an interview with him and play it back on the show. Photo ops are at 6:30. Autograph session from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Coaches Collectibles, your number one source for 100% authentic sports memorabilia and live public autograph events. Check them out online at www.coachescollectiblesny.com and make sure you use the code SPORTSBASH for free shipping on all your orders. We're two huge sports fans. I love Coaches Collectibles. They have some great stuff. I got to ask you, what's your most prized piece of sports memorabilia that you own in your collection?
So, do you mean own as in purchase or that I've acquired? Because there is a slight difference.
So, yeah, okay, so give me one of each. So give me one that you've acquired, one that maybe you bought.
Okay, so one that I bought would probably have to be my Jim Craig jersey.
Okay.
Because back when I played deck hockey, I'd like to clarify that I couldn't skate to save my life.
My kids play deck hockey, yes. We've shown video of them on the show. Yeah.
But I took number 30 between the pipes because of him, and, just reminder that you can do whatever you want. Miracles happen every day.
There you go.
One that I just happen to have, I would say, is the ticket from when I saw Derek Jeter hit number 3,000.
Wow,
and
there you
that
go.
I have framed, and it's funny because it's not a real ticket stub. This was before scanning on your phone, but after actual ticket stubs.
So it was a mobile ticket that you had to print out.
The paper, yep, and I have it with all the creases from being in my pocket, and that's been framed in the basement of the house I've grown up with for many, many years.
It's a sore subject about tickets and ticket stubs, and we've talked about it with Vinny Tickets from ticketbash.com, one of our main partners and sponsors. The disappearance of the real tickets. And you almost have this like real excitement when you get a real ticket. And recently I went to a St. John's game at the Garden with my sons, and Ed Cull, who's the athletic director at St. John's, great guy, friend of the program. He's been on the show. I called him up and he left us tickets to go to the game. And so I said, I'll look for the mobile tickets. And he's like, no, you'll get them at the will call window. I'm like, really real tickets? And yeah, I couldn't believe it. We went into the Garden, went to the box office, and they actually handed me 4 tickets to the game. I'm like, this is great. You don't get that anymore.
Yeah. It's a fantastic keepsake. And, I almost compare it to the same way as I think people are always going to want to read an actual newspaper. You can get it online, but you want to actually enjoy the art, the appreciation. It's special. It's nostalgic, and it's just, I was here.
I'm old school. I like to read the newspaper, which is why, like, every Sunday morning we get, the paper on Sunday, and I'll read through the newspaper. But we live in a society now. Everyone wants something right off the bat. They want to just read it right here. They read the headline. How many times have you written a story? And this happens to me all the time with my Islander stuff on FAN, with the stuff I write for Greater Long Island. How many times do you write a story and you get somebody on social media that sends you a nasty tweet about the story, and there's no way in the world they actually read the story? They see the title of it, and that's all they do. They'll say, this is wrong, you're an idiot, what are you doing? I'm like, did you read the story? Has that ever happened to you? It's not just me, right?
I can confirm that this happens. And, listen, I love our readers. Fantastic people. They give me a job.
Yes.
Every once in a while, just, read a little more. You might learn something.
It doesn't take that long. And nowadays, articles, especially Greater Long Island is digital. So, you're not writing a 5,000-word essay like you're writing a college term paper. It's, 500 words. Maybe it's 1,000 words. It doesn't take all that long to read the story. And I'm like, somebody, and I forget what the story was that I wrote, but somebody actually sent the story, goes, you don't know what you're talking about. You think this and this. And I'm like, that is not what I wrote in the story. Did you even read the story? And the person actually said, no, but I judge it by the headline that you're an idiot. I'm like, you didn't even read the story. And that's what annoys me about that.
But you know what? People like that, they're not the real readership. Like our real readership, and you check when you see the comments on your article, and it makes you feel very appreciated that someone stopped, took the time out of their day, and a huge thank you to everybody who supported me, readers, whoever. And when you get that, when people actually follow through, fantastic. And, I'm so appreciative that we have that.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes, just read the story. Just read it. It doesn't take that long, unless you can't read. You know, maybe if you're stuck in your parents' basement, just pounding away at Twitter and stuff like, you just feel like insulting people. Maybe you can't read. You know, but just it doesn't take that long to read a story. In any event, let's move on. I'm chuckling only because I have to. There's no other way for me to react to what I went through for 5 months last year. And people who watch the show, people in my family, people who know me, whether it's work or friends or whatever, everyone knows how I feel about arena football. Everyone knows about my prior history with the New York Dragons, and everyone knows how excited I was to be the GM of what was supposed to be the new New York Dragons. And last year, we were up and rolling in a new football league, somewhat new football league. I don't know if you want to call it a league, more like a scam, but in any event. So I was the GM of this new football team. We hired a coach, and we had tryouts. And we advertised the first tryout, and we had a tremendous, I think we had like 100 people at the first tryout. One of those people who came to the first tryout was the gentleman sitting to my left, Alex Mitchell, who came to that facility there in Farmingdale, the United States Academy of Soccer, I believe was the name of the facility. And we're looking at a couple of pictures of him actually doing a great story on us. We thank you for that.
Of course.
But also actually going through the tryout. And one of the pictures, it's that one on the left right there, Tony, the first one I think that we gave you. There is Alex in his stance, getting ready to snap the ball. And the person who was overseeing this drill is my good friend, the cancer fighter, Sean Wachter, who I had hired as a director of operations. He is now working in the cancer space, and we hope to work together on a project. He's still doing some pro wrestling. But there you are. Tell me about that experience that you had that day, that morning, trying out for the New York Dragons.
Oh my goodness! First of all, shout out to Sean. What an incredible story! And the cancer fighter, man, he's just the best.
Well, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, I digress. Go ahead.
So the photo of me snapping the ball again, which I did a couple of times at the junior varsity level, so naturally I was qualified for a professional team after about 12 years of football inactivity. That gentleman there, the nose guard, he got to the quarterback before the ball did. That's what I remember about that particular play. My 40-yard dash time was also quite impressive. They put away the stopwatch and took out the calendar.
They took out the calendar.
So I still haven't completed it. I'll get around to it.
Yeah. Well, who's counting a few minutes or hours among friends? By the way, we are overdue for a little sit-down conversation about my 5-month experience doing that. We're not really going to get too much into the negative details here, but I'm sure you found that whole
mythological dragons.
Yes, the mythological dragons, but I'm sure you found that whole 5-month ordeal that I went through somewhat fascinating, right?
Yeah, and having someone who, and I'm using the term tried out loosely, but seeing what the other people went through, it broke my heart that the team didn't end up playing, because I saw what they put into it and what they were hoping to get out to it. When you actually speak to people about, like, hey, this is my dream, I don't want to give up on my dream, and to not have it happen must have been devastating for them.
I will sum up that part of our conversation with 2 words: pending litigation. It's time for the Sportsbash Media poll question of the day, presented by the Embassy Diner, our friend Gus.
Ooh.
And everybody at the Embassy Diner. We love them. Located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Every customer is considered family at the Embassy Diner. Mention Sportsbash, get a free dessert with your meal. We post a new question every Tuesday and Thursday on the Sportsbash Media X/Twitter page. Who is to blame most for Team USA not knowing the WBC rules about advancing to the knockout round? And if you don't know what we're talking about, it appeared as if USA kind of tried to throw that 4th game away with different lineup combinations the other night, and it turns out they needed some help last night by Italy defeating Mexico to get to the knockout round, where they get to face Canada. And where have we seen USA against Canada before recently? Yeah, maybe we'll kick Canada's butt again on Friday night. But anyway, who is to blame most for Team USA not knowing the WBC rules about advancing to the knockout round? We have 4 choices: the manager, Mark DeRosa; Major League Baseball; USA Baseball; or all of the above? And I'll go with our guest FOP today, Alex Mitchell first. Who do you blame the most?
I'm going to go with option E, which is that there's a disparage between our coffee and Team Italy's espresso, because apparently nobody with Team USA was perked up enough to know. And that just feels like something top down. Nobody caught it. Nobody at all. Everyone dropped the ball. So literally.
It sounds like you're an all of the above kind of situation. There.
You know, to quote the great Herb Brooks, the name on the front means a heck of a lot more important than the name on the back, and everybody's representing the USA.
Yeah.
Someone's got to step up in that situation.
Tony, who do you blame the most?
I agree with Alex. I agree with what Alex just said, but that last part right there, somebody's got to step up. So I blame DeRosa.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go with Mark DeRosa too. You're the manager. You got to make sure you know what the situation is and the way you put your lineup card out there. No question about it. It's Mark DeRosa, and that's your sports poll question, Sports Bash poll question of the day. And it's time for what's hot at ticketbash.com. And did I mess up and not write one out? I did not write one out. It looks like I missed out on that. But what's hot at ticketbash.com? The Knicks are coming down the stretch. You want to get your Knicks tickets down the stretch. The Big East tournament is going on at Madison Square Garden, so you got that. The Islanders, both these games this weekend are going to be sold out. Tomorrow night against the Kings, Saturday against the Flames. So don't be worried if the game is sold out. Go to ticketbash.com. Get the best seats at the best prices with no service fees at ticketbash.com.
And your favorite, tonight's at Billy Joel tribute at Carnegie Hall.
Oh, that's right. That's tonight with the less than stellar level of singers that we had talked about previously on the show.
Right.
That we were a little underwhelmed by the guest singers that they have for that. Alex, are you a big Billy Joel guy?
Oh, you know it, Peter.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've been a Billy Joel fan for the longest time. And I also, speaking of Mike Del Giudice, I got to do a fantastic story with him ahead of the Ryder Cup, and just seeing him do well makes me very happy.
Yeah, he's the best. He's been on the show before. We're going to have him on before his new place opens up. I can't believe how fast an hour flew by. An honor to have you on the show, my friend.
It's been great. Thank you.
And by the way, one thing I did not get to really quick, and you've been helping us out a lot with American Soccer Club of New York. We're going to be announcing our schedule publicly very, very soon. But I'm going to do it right now. Anyway, at least we're going to show you this image. Not really supposed to do it, but I'm doing it anyway. It's going to come out either tomorrow or Monday. But I will tell everybody that our home opener and season opener is on Saturday, May 2nd at 6 p.m. at Mitchell Athletic Complex against the New York Shockers. So I just felt the need, as the communications coordinator of the team, I felt I was going to do that. So there you go. We're going to see you at the games, right?
Of course you will. The Tomcats are a very exciting team.
You like our mascot, Maverick?
Absolutely. My last name's Mitchell. How can I not lean into that?
There you go. My older son Bradley's middle name is Mitchell. Look at all the combinations that are going on between me and Alex here today.
My dad did the missile system safety on the F-14. So
Really?
it hits home. And, every time I talk to someone about that, they say that they had a relative who worked for Grumman too. And it's, picking that team name, there's a real genuine connection to Long Island.
I'll be with Maverick tonight at the LI News Radio Back to Business event. The American Soccer Club will be there. Thank you very much for joining us here on the show. Hope you had a good time.
I had a great time.
I'll see you around Long Island if you're not trying to beat me to a story somewhere down the road. That will do it for this edition of Sports Bash, presented by Ticketbash.com and the Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund. Thanks to my FOP co-host, Alex Mitchell, LIU head coach Rod Strickland. Thanks to our social media coordinator, Leanne Burgess. Thanks to Tony Walker and his snide comments, and everyone here at Governors. Sports Bash is sponsored by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, by Coaches Collectibles, and by the Marty Lyons Foundation. For our entire crew, I'm Peter Schwartz. Thanks for watching. Sports Bash is back Tuesday at 1 o'clock.